Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar for the Common Good Challenge. My name is Christabel Volyena, and I'm with CARET. We are the agency that is supporting the Arizona Community Foundation with this challenge. CARET also powers a website and a platform you all are using to register and apply for the Common Good Challenge. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on the News and Updates page of the challenge website in the next week. We'll also email it to those who have registered for the challenge. We reserve most of our time over the next hour for your questions. In just a moment, you'll hear an overview of the Common Good Challenge from Jamie Dempsey, the Senior Vice President of Philanthropic Initiatives at Arizona Community Foundation. I'll then do a quick walkthrough of the challenge website with my colleague Ethan Matthews. Then my colleague Talia Gibbous with CARET will also help open it up for questions. As your questions come up, please type them into the questions box, and we'll answer as many as we can during our allotted time today. Before we move on, there's some very important dates to keep in mind. The deadline to register for the Common Good Challenge is in just over 3 weeks on Tuesday, December 13th at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Please note that you are required to register in order to submit an application. We're also planning an additional Q&A webinar on Thursday, December 15th at 2 p.m. The sign-up link for that session will be shared shortly after the registration deadline with all who have registered for the Common Good Challenge. If you have questions or are in need of technical support after today's session, you can always reach us at questions@commongoodchallenge.org. Now, I'm pleased to turn things over to Jamie Dempsey of the Arizona Community Foundation.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's a wonderful morning, and it's such a great, we're honored to talk to you about the Common Good Challenge. Many of you may be familiar with the new Arizona Prize program, but for those who are not, the new Arizona Prize program this is the 5th prize that is a partnership between 3 entities: the Arizona Community Foundation, the Arizona Republic and AZ Central, and ASU Morrison Institute for Public Policy. The reason that we engage in innovation prizes is because we believe together that we can champion winning ideas, big picture thinking, brain power to solve important challenges, visionary solutions, outside the box thinking, and we believe that these prize programs can inspire creativity. So together, we identified a problem that we wanted to work on. We observed that there are breakdowns in civil discourse and societal cooperation, and intense pressures on institutions that support our civic life and a functioning democracy. And yet, we know that there is great work and productive collaborations that are happening right now and always in communities across the state of Arizona, where diverse people come together to make things and to make things better. So our 5th new Arizona Prize is called the Common Good Challenge. The purpose of this challenge is to bring diverse teams together to identify and address a complex or persistent problem facing their community. While significant attention is paid to breakdowns in civil discourse and the pressures on our institutions, this competition honors and invests in projects that advance dialogue and cooperation across social, economic, political, racial, and other boundaries to solve specific community challenges. So to be clear, this competition is not focused on a specific topic or issue. This competition focuses on who is coming together in coalition. Again, diverse teams who are committed to solving issues that they have identified as complex or persistent challenges to their communities. I'd encourage you to get very acquainted with the scoring rubric, the FAQs, and the terms and conditions where this is more clearly outlined. And this prize will ultimately result in 3 $100,000 awards that will be awarded to teams that identify a challenge and bring diverse individuals and groups together to arrive at a solution or a proposed solution. A bit about team composition. Again, because this prize focuses on who is coming together in coalition, we strongly encourage applicants to think carefully about the composition of their teams. They should be composed of people who live and work in the identified community, people who are closest to the identified challenge in terms of their lived experience, professional background, or personal mission, people who have decision-making authority over the identified challenge, and people with diverse perspectives, backgrounds, and experiences who are committed to working together to solve a problem. Thank you for allowing me the time to provide a quick overview, and I'd now like to turn this over to Christabel, who will talk to us more about the process behind the prize.
Thanks so much, Jamie. So now let's walk through the website together and review the process to participate in the Common Good Challenge. I'll start with registration. As we've mentioned, registration is required for you to submit an application. Registration is very simple. You'll go to the right-hand corner of any page on the website and click on the button that counts down the number of days to register. You'll then be instructed to create and confirm your account. After, you'll be prompted to submit some basic information about your organization so that we can better understand our registrant community. Please note you will not receive an email confirmation at that point. If you're able to access the online application and forums on the platform, then you have registered properly for the competition. Now, a quick orientation of the Common Good Challenge website. Like all of the initiatives under the New Arizona Prize, the Common Good Challenge is rooted in the values of openness, transparency, and fairness. We want to be sure that everyone who registers and applies for this opportunity knows exactly what we expect from them, when and how they're going to be scored, and who will be evaluating their applications. This website is built as an instructional guide to understanding that process. A good place to start is the Common Good Challenge application. The full text of the application is available for any visitor to the site. You can see all the questions, prompts, requirements, and word count limits. You'll see that the application has several sections. You're encouraged to read all of them so that you have a good understanding of what is required to submit a full application. Once you've done that, you should have a strong sense of what you will need to do to apply. Next, many people ask about how applications will be evaluated. On the Challenge website, you can see the scoring rubric that will be used to provide scores and feedback on your submission during peer-to-peer review, as well as during evaluation panel review. The 4 criteria are community-informed, feasible, collaborative, and impactful. Each trait consists of a prompt that details what each of those traits mean in this context, and each trait will be given a score between 0 and 5. You can toggle back and forth between the scoring ranges for any given trait, and a scoring range definition will appear to provide further detail on what a low and high score means for the Common Good Challenge. You'll see how we've defined what makes a strong proposal. We encourage you to familiarize yourself with the scoring rubric as you develop your solution. Now this brings us to the actual scoring process. Following the application deadline, all eligible submissions will move into peer-to-peer review. Each lead applicant will be required to score and comment on at least 5 applications from other organizations using the scoring rubric. All applicants must participate in peer-to-peer review and provide scores and feedback on 5 applications in order to remain eligible for this opportunity. Peer-to-peer review is planned for February to March and is done independently using our online scoring platform. More information and a training webinar will be made available to those who move to this stage of the challenge. And once peer-to-peer review is complete, A subset of top scoring applications will move forward to the evaluation panel. You can see the full list of confirmed expert review panel members on our website. Not only will you receive scores on your application from 5 of these individuals, but you'll also get feedback. The peer reviewers and evaluation panel judges are required to provide comments to justify each score they give and note their overall impression of each application. We often find that the feedback is one of the most important aspects of participating in our challenges. That even if you're not selected as a finalist or a winner, you walk away with valuable feedback that you can then use to refine your solutions and seek other funding or expanded support. This brings us to another common question we receive: how do we ensure the process is fair? To address this question, we have a web page dedicated specifically to explaining how we normalize scores. You go to the menu, click on Scoring Process and Fairness. You can read more about how this works. I mentioned every valid application will first be scored by 5 fellow applicants and then scored by 5 members of our evaluation panel. This means that not every applicant and not every judge will look at every application. To make sure you're not disadvantaged if by chance you were assigned a hard grader versus another applicant who was reviewed by someone who tended to be a little more lenient, we normalize the scores and rescale them to help ensure fairness. Again, please review this website to learn more about the process. There are a couple other features on this website I'd like to point out. First, let's quickly visit the rules page. Here you can read about the legal stipulations governing your participation. You can find the eligibility criteria and learn more about the detailed terms and conditions. And as Ethan showed earlier, we do have a timeline page that also details each phase of the challenge. Again, if you haven't done so already, please do register as soon as possible. Registration is required and must be completed by Tuesday, December 13th at 5 o'clock Mountain Time for you to be able to submit an application. Once you register, you'll have access to the application where you can enter your responses. And then the submission deadline is Wednesday, January 18th at 5 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. This timeline goes on to list all other key dates related to the challenge. Our website also includes other helpful areas like news and updates and a series of frequently asked questions. We encourage you to read over all of the website to help support your development of a strong application. Now, let's move on to the Q&A portion of the webinar. Please add your questions to the Questions tab, and we'll get to as many as possible. Please note that to ensure fairness, we're not able to provide guidance that's very specific to your proposed idea. Please do email us if you have those more specific questions. All right, let's get started. I'll let Talia take it from here.
Hey, everybody. The first question is, who can participate?
Yes, so the Common Good Challenge is seeking teams that are composed of a combination of the following: the people who live and work in the identified community or belong to and reflect the identified community, people who are closest to the identified challenge in terms of lived experience, professional background, or personal mission, people with diverse perspectives, backgrounds, and experiences who are committed to working together to solve a problem, and people with decision-making authority over the identified challenge.
Great, thank you. The next question is, do we need partners?
Yes, partners are very strongly encouraged. Teams that do not specify key partners in the application may not be eligible or not likely to score highly during the evaluation phase.
Great. The next question is, what types of projects are you looking for?
Yes, so as mentioned, the Common Good Challenge seeks to counter the breakdown in civic cooperation and civil discourse by fostering a culture of collaboration and working together toward a common goal. Successful proposals will bring together teams of people with diverse and potentially opposing viewpoints and support their pursuit of solutions to issues facing their community. The Common Good Challenge focuses on who is coming together in coalition rather than focusing on a singular issue.
Thank you. The next question is, in addition to registration and submitting an application, what are other requirements of participation?
Good question. So in addition to submitting a completed application, eligible applicants will be required to participate in peer-to-peer review and provide feedback on 5 proposals submitted by other applicants. This will take roughly 4 to 5 hours over a period of 2 weeks. So for those who move on to this phase, a status update and peer review resources will be emailed on February 14th, and we'll host a training webinar on Wednesday, February 15th at 3 p.m. Arizona time. So you can please save the date for that. The timeline, the rules, and evaluation pages of the website have more information on deadlines, requirements, and other details.
Thank you. The next question is, will you consider funding a proposed solution in the early pilot stages?
So we encourage all applicants to include as much evidence and data as possible to demonstrate the likelihood of success of the proposed solution. In the case that it is an early stage proposal where a proof of concept has not been fully developed or tested, please do include any data you might have on how a similar project or strategy has worked in the past. That said, we do accept early pilot stages, but also existing projects and shovel-ready proposals are welcome. Please review the scoring rubric to really learn more about how we define a strong proposal.
Thank you so much. Is there a required project period to consider for the timeline?
Nope, there's no specific minimum or maximum time period to implement the proposed projects. We ask that you present the strongest timeline possible in response to that question in the application.
The next question is, are there restrictions on how we can use award funds?
No, we entrust all of you to identify how funds will best serve your proposed solution. We found that those who are more specific and focused on program-related costs when responding to that budget question are likely to score higher on criteria like feasibility.
Great. The next question is, do you have examples of successfully funded projects?
Good morning, this is Lori Vesco, and I manage the day-to-day operations of the New Arizona Prize. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you to the Common Good Challenge pre-registration webinar. I encourage you to visit the New Arizona Prize website to see the past winners and how their projects were funded. Again, that's newarizonaprize.org.
Thanks, Lori. The next question is, do applicants need to be nonprofit organizations or can individuals apply?
Hi, it's Lori again. You are going to notice on your registration form, we ask you what kind of entity you are, be it a 501c3, be it an LLC, etc. What's going to be most important if you review the scoring rubric and how the teams comprised are going to be scored, but no, to answer your question, there is not a restriction, but we strongly encourage partnership.
Thank you. The next question is, what time horizon should the impact make? For example, a one-time activity, something where impacts to the community will be seen within weeks, months, or years?
You are going to notice on the application your projected timeline. Again, I refer you to the scoring rubric and how that will be evaluated.
Great. And this actually brings us to the end of the question list so far. So if there are any more questions floating out there, please go ahead and enter them in the Q&A tab.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Talia. You can also email us at questions@commongoodchallenge.org. Don't be shy. Please do add any questions you have. We'll get them answered today.
Oh, we did just get one more in. The next question is, once registered, can we add more collaborators?
I can take this one, and Lori, if you'd like to add, let me know. But yes, once you register, you can share your login details with your team and work on the application together. We do find that some teams like to register individually so they can access the same materials. We do just ask that only one submission is submitted and sent to us for your team. And then you can all collaborate as you need. Some people work offline, export the questions and work offline from that regard as well.
It's been my experience that people have registered one lead applicant because the lead applicant is going to be involved with the peer-to-peer scoring process. Two, that the teams work offline and then cut and paste the answers prior to the submission date of January 18th at 5 p.m. Mountain. And it seems to work well. But again, as Christabel mentioned, you can collaborate with one password or not, whichever you prefer.
Lori, this is Jamie. I can't be sure what was in the question asker's mind, but I wonder if the question is more about adding collaborators after registration in terms of the partnership, not in terms of the application.
Well, let's break that down a bit, Jamie. Sure. Let's just say that particular project or that particular team was awarded one of the $100,000 prizes. At the end of the process, once the pitch event has completed, then ACF will craft a grant agreement, and it will be with the lead applicant. So, to answer your question, yes, additional partners could be added, but the funds should be expended per the proposed budget and timeline.
Thank you, Lori.
We did have another question come in. Can we work on the application now and come back to it?
Yes, very much so. We prefer that you do. And we, meaning the team, the internal team. But yes, you can as soon as you're fully registered. Please start as soon as you can, because the submission deadline is coming January 18th, 5 o'clock Mountain.
Yes, thank you, Lori. Please do not wait until the last minute, especially, it is an online process. So in case there are any technical difficulties, please, yes, get started now and do not wait until the last minute.
And I know that this will be also covered in the pre-submission webinar, but just the application does save your progress as you go. Okay, I think that is it for our questions. I'll keep an eye on them.
Hi, it's Lori again. I strongly encourage you to review the scoring rubric, the FAQ pages, the forums once you're fully registered, terms and conditions, and rules. And again, if you have any questions, please direct those to questions at commongoodchallenge.org, and one of our team members will respond.
And we did actually just get another one real quick. How many applicants have you received in the past?
In the past, I believe I can share that information with you. I can't share how many are currently registered, but in the past, there were 5 finalists in the Water Consciousness Challenge, 5 finalists in the Water Innovation Challenge, 5 finalists in the Water Public Arts Challenge, and 5 finalists in the Housing Security Challenge. And I did all of that from memory. Thank you.
And another question, is there a list of funded projects somewhere?
I am asking the person that just asked that question to submit a question to questions@commongoodchallenge.org because I'm unsure of what that person means by that question.
And also, it might be helpful to visit, again, newarizonaprize.org that Lori mentioned before. There you can have links to all of the past competitions and visit those websites where all of the awardees were announced.
And I just put that link in the chat as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Talia. All right. Well, I think we are at the end of the questions. If you have more, please don't hesitate to add. I'll go through a couple more reminders. As we all mentioned, please do email questions@commongoodchallenge.org with any requests for tech support or with any questions. If you haven't done so already and intend to apply for the challenge, please register no later than Tuesday, December 13th at 5:00 p.m. Mountain Time. And once you complete the registration form, you'll have access to the application and forums. A recording of this webinar will be made available to registrants by email. The recording will also be posted in forums on the platform and will be added to news and updates on the website. You can save the date for our second Q&A webinar on Thursday, December 15th at 2:00 p.m. Mountain Time. You'll have another opportunity to ask questions as you dive deeper into your application. And if there are no further questions, just want to thank you all again for joining us. We look forward to your participation in the Common Good Challenge. I'll hand things over to Jamie for any closing remarks.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Christabel, Ethan, Lori, and Talia for leading this webinar today. And thank you for your interest in the Common Good Challenge. Please do reach out with any questions you encounter along the way. And we very much look forward to learning more about your collaborations and proposed solutions. And thank you for your support of the Common Good. We appreciate your time this morning, and we look forward to hearing more.